everyone, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. Hi, I'm Mand. So I'm super excited about today's video. I'm going to move you guys over a little bit more because we're going to talk about working with crystals in your practice. So as you can see, I always have a plethora of crystals all around me. I will one day walk through my whole office, but just to give you an idea, I have crystals all in here, I have crystals all up there, I have crystals to the left of me, jokers to the right. Okay, that was poor. Anyway, that was bad. That was bad. So before we get into it, I would say go grab a pen and paper if you want to, or maybe you want to grab your deck. I'm just going to use oracle cards here, but please feel free to change it out for tarot if that's what your preferred divination method is, or anything like that. Okay, so maybe you prefer oracle, maybe you prefer tarot, whatever it is. But if you're new, hi, I'm Mand. I cover all things tarot, oracle deck related. I chat crystals, spiritual, witchy, all that kind of stuff, art, magic. If that's your jam, then hit the subscribe button. I'd love to have you part of the family here. So go grab all the bits that you need to grab. I'm going to take a sip of water and we're going to get into chatting about crystals and how can you incorporate them in your practice. Okay, so I wanted to make this kind of fun and interactive and not too kind of like school and homework and things like that. So as you can see, I have different varieties of crystals, number one, but I also have them in different shapes, sizes, you name it, okay? So I have a palm stone. This is, what is he doing? I apologize about the noise. This is sodalite. It's great for your throat chakra, speaking truth, having confidence when you're speaking, things like that, right? And then we have orange calcite, which is in its raw form. Okay, so that's very good for working with your solar plexus. Then we have a beautiful labie, or labradorite, if you're new to crystals. And then also my trusty, handy dandy selenite. I'm never without selenite around me, okay? I have multiple. There's a selenite. Here's another selenite. I also have a selenite lamp over there. So that is one crystal, if I was to say, to have in your crystal kit. Have selenite, whether it be like this in raw form, but do mind that one, do not get it wet because it is derived from salt, so it will melt. And raw will splinter over time. It will smooth out, but when it's new, it will splinter. Okay. So, how can you incorporate it into your practice? I thought that was a great one because I know a lot of you might, or maybe you're like me, you have like a multitude of crystals. You're like, how am I going to incorporate this? First of all, it is absolutely perfectly fine to have them on display. Okay, you do not need to have them as constant workhorses. Just like decks, it's okay to collect crystals just to admire them too, okay? But if you do like working with crystals, and I have to say, I do like working with crystals, right? So the first and main thing, so some of these things are my tried and true method, and others are things that have just popped into my head when I was coming up with this video, okay? So I haven't tested them out, so I'm pretty much doing it with you here. And it's just to give you other options, I suppose, is the, you know, things that have just intuitively popped into my head that, oh yeah, that could work. So again, these are suggestions. Some of them, I have used myself, and others, I literally thought of them on the spot. And I'm like, oh, I'd like to try that myself. So one way you can incorporate it into your practice is carrying your crystal around with you. If you have like little tumble stones, like this size, or maybe you have them smaller again, maybe about this size. So as you can see, there's a bit of a size difference. Excuse me. Maybe you have flat ones like that. Very sorry about that. So maybe you have just different kind of crystals that you would like to work with. So maybe you have a cherry quartz or a flower agate or an angelite or anything that you might want to bring in the energy of that crystal. Now, when you look up crystals online, they'll give you all suggestions as to what they're in connection to and things like that. And that's fine, absolutely 100%, especially when you're starting off. I still be looking up meanings of crystals and things like that. But please do take notice when you're working with it. How is it making you feel? Is it working with the elements that you thought it was going to work with, or is it doing more, or is it doing less? Again, see how the energy of that crystal is. Do not go for the crystals that everybody else is talking about. Go with the ones that you, are feeling very intuitively drawn to. Okay? So, the one crystal that I, again, 110% will always recommend is selenite, because it's a great one for when we're doing our practice, clearing our cards, clearing other crystals. Okay, you know, you can clear other crystals, visualizing white light. I'm kind of off center, apologies. You can cleanse your own aura with it. You can just lightly work it up. To me, it always feels like really cool and soothing. So I'll cleanse my entire being, my entire body with selenite before I do readings and things like that. And again, it's a great one to work with when working with your deck, or before, or maybe you want to cleanse out the energy. Another way of incorporating crystals into your practice is maybe you have a big reading on a specific topic that you want to work on or work through, and setting the crystal on top of your deck before your reading. Maybe you want to map out the questions and do your little journaling over here so that your deck is infusing with the energy of the crystal. Okay, and so you can hold the crystal in your hand, especially if you've small hands like this. I find sphere is the easiest, but you can shuffle somewhat with the crystal in your hand, so you're still working with the energy. Now, maybe not everybody can do this. I know some of you have issues with your hands and things like that, and so as you can see, I'm very in tune with this deck. There's no denying that, that's for sure. But that is another way that you can do it. Again, you can use palm stones, raw, certain shaped ones. They're all great ways to infuse the crystal energy within your practice. So moving away from just infusing crystal energy, again, there are so many different crystals out there that you can work with. You can incorporate amethyst. Maybe you want to create like a circle around your deck. Again, I suppose that would be infusing, yes. What else can you do? Okay, so maybe, now you guys know I normally pick a crystal when I'm working with a deck to keep in the bag, box, whatever. And some decks have crystals in them all the time. So my Divine Feminine has a tiger's eye, and I'm trying to say, yes, I have another piece of tiger's eye. So one of these sits in my Divine Feminine. And I also have a piece of Unakite, which is this, inside with my Starman Tarot. So those two crystals permanently live with those two decks. Another way that you could do it is you could set up a crystal grid beside your deck. So I'm trying to see crystals here that'll work. Now I don't have too many small ones. Oh, hold on, I have crystal chips here. Now these are all kind of like crystal confetti that I would have gotten, excuse me, over time. So you can put one for your root. Where's an orange one for your sacral? Try to see where's another one. So sacral will be your creativity and all that kind of stuff. So here, I'll just put on, well, that's kind of more yellow, isn't it? So we'll say, even though Tiger's Eye isn't a sacral, you get the gist. There's an orange one. Hello. So I'm just going to spit out all the crystals here. I feel like this is more red though. I feel like this is more carnelian, but we're going to go with it for the solar plexus. Right? And now we need a yellow one. Okay, this is a tiny, tiny yellow one. For our solar. Oh my goodness me. For the heart, I am going to go with a green one, but you can go with pink if you want to. And then for our throat, our good old trusty sodalite. And then for our third eye, hello, where are you going? I'm going to do an amethyst. This is a very funny looking amethyst. And then for our crown, we can put a clear quartz. And know that if you don't have any of those, sorry that's very loud, any of those crystals, not to feel pressured to buy loads of chips or anything like that. You do not need to, because if you have clear quartz, that will work in place of anything else. So we'll say maybe you don't have one for your solar plexus, we can pop in a clear quartz. So, and it'll do the same thing. It's like a master crystal. It's a master crystal to have. So you could have that if you want to, sorry now, work with the energies of the chakras, and maybe you want to infuse more. I'm curious as to what this one is. I don't know what that crystal is. Yes, there are crystals in my collection. I have no idea. I have like tiny little pieces of pyrite as well, which I did not know I had until I started doing this. You don't have to work with like little chips or anything like that. I have little chips here. I'm trying to think, what are they? I think they're moonstone and strawberry quartz, but anyway. Another thing that you could do is if you have towers, right? So I have small little towers here. I have big towers, medium towers. Is you can direct the energy of the crystal if needs be. So as you can see, I have a chakra crystal grid. So maybe I want the energy to go up. So maybe I want to send love up the energy. Up the energy, that doesn't sound right. And maybe you want to incorporate some more crystals. So I'm just trying to see here, which ones would I incorporate? I suppose I would incorporate a bit of green aventurine. And carnelian. So again, you can have all these off to the side. When that's not very pretty looking, I know. When you're doing your reading. That is another way that you could do it. Again, you can make these far pretty and not as pretty. All are practical. Another thing you might want to do is you might have a specific topic, again, that will say, for example, anxiety. Okay, that is something that you want to deal with. So with our crystal grid, we can pop it up here. Okay. And what is great for anxiety? I find amethyst is quite a soothing one. And I don't have a tumbled black obsidian, but black obsidian is very calming, but I do have a raw, so it's not as pretty, but it is effective. Okay, so make sure that when you're working with your crystals, you're clear in your intentions of what you want them for, and you can set them here, and you can even place your hands over it and visualize that energy of calm. You know, what's another one that's very, very calming? Again, if you don't have any of these crystals and you just have a clear quartz, then that will do absolutely perfect. So you can put your hands over and visualize the healing coming up and calming any anxieties, any worries that you might have. You know, taking note of where are you feeling this anxiety. Another thing we can do is we can go much bigger. So I do have a bigger... Unfortunately, my as big and all as my table is, so I can see, can I zoom out? No, I can't zoom out any further. 1 second, will you stop moving? Thank you. Okay, so what we can do is, again, we can go much bigger here. Now, please don't feel like you need to have a board like this. I got this during the time we were all locked up inside our houses where we had to, you know, chill and relax. So again, maybe you're feeling that anxiety and you want to infuse more different crystals around. So these grids are great because, oh, they give a great insight. Okay, I'm just picking random crystals here, guys. Okay, I'm kind of just following what my intuition is saying. It's like, yeah, we'd like some of this and some of this, and maybe some good fortune and more love. So as you can see, you have a much bigger grid. I'm probably missing one here. Here, we'll bring in all the love, because that's what we want. Maybe we want more love, so we'll pick an even bigger. And maybe you want to direct it up, so you're sending love up to yourself. So as you can see, it's a great way of incorporating more crystals with your cards as well. You know, maybe you want to manifest money and to be successful and things like that. You just change out the crystals. You go, thank you very much for doing your purpose. Let's change you out. And you start incorporating crystals that are for good fortune. So our pyrite is one. So again, what I would always say is follow your intuition. Okay, so I have 3 pyrites. I also have a Bulbasaur pyrite. So for me, that's always prosperity, abundance, all that stuff. So you can incorporate your little sculptures too. And you can leave this up in your altar space. Okay, you can make this as elaborate, as complicated, as simple as you want. As simple as you want. Because at the end of the day, they're your crystals and you can see how you want to use them. Okay, so maybe you're like, I don't have tumbles. I only have, what's the word? Chips. Okay, right. Let me help you create something with just, sorry, now I'm blocking the view, with just crystal chips. Okay, so we have another one here, where is a door to personal healing. And I'm going to open up this, and maybe you might have some clear quartz. So I would place clear quartz at the top. An extra bit if you have it, but not necessary. So for me, green is really healing. I always find green to be very healing. You can use it for prosperity, you know, and maybe have an image of somebody that you want to send healing to as well. So okay, so you can visualize sending them healing. And it doesn't have to be like specific green ones. Like, look, I have tiny ones here. So I'm going to like really use a lot of green around here, so that there's a lot of green energy going into this. That there's a lot of healing. There's a lot of rest. I'm really getting a sense of needing to rest, rejuvenate, kindness, sending kindness to yourself. Okay, maybe you might want to put like the pieces of quartz around. So do you see as I'm adding, and no, I don't have anything in mind of how I'm doing this. I am just adding as I see fit. And as you can see, you do not need to have huge crystals to reap the benefits of it. I'm just trying to see. I know I have more elsewhere, but I have like 110 jars that I'll need to sort through. And oh, I clearly have a lot of green crystals here. They're green adventuring. So as you can see, oh, I'm missing a spot here. And then we'll pop another thing here. So as you can see, let's make lots of noise. There's a lot. There's a lot going on. Okay, bye. That one wanted to be free, so we will let it go free. Oh, this has a cute little rainbow in it. You can make these as elaborate or as complicated, uncomplicated as you want. You can charge them under the moon. You can charge them under the sun, but just be careful. Just be careful that nothing gets kind of burned by the sun or washed out or anything like that. Apologies. Yeah, you can charge these under the sun. You can even make moon water with your crystals as long as they're water safe. So that's just a few ideas of how you can incorporate it into your practice. I will work on more ideas for sure, but I'm afraid I have to wrap this up now because I have to go. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. I hope this helps you on your crystal journey a little bit, that I didn't complicate it too much. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye guys.